A new report that the House GOP is pushing to rein in the National Science Foundation. According to Politico, Republicans, quote, plan to push proposals to cut funding for global warming and social science research, put strict new rules on the National Science Foundation's grant-making process, and overhaul how science informs policymaking at the EPA. Well, Scotty Nell Hughes is news director for the Tea Party News Network, and attorney Jessica Ehrlich is a former Democratic congressional candidate. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
And Scotty, I'm going to start with you. So, do Republicans not like science?
Well, honestly, Heather, with our country being more than $18 trillion in debt, thank God somebody's trying to cut this down, because we all know when it comes to academia and science, this is probably one of the biggest places for pork when it comes to government spending and the smorgasbord of waste that this government has been spending. So way to go to those guys trying to cut something as we continue to see more and more debt continue to pile up.
And Jessica, what do you think? Do you think that this is really a war on science by Republicans, or are they just trying to rein in unnecessary spending?
Well, I hope it's not a war on science, because traditionally the House Committee on Science and Space and Technology has been one of the few places where we've been able to really find, bipartisan working together. And we'd hopefully like to see that as sort of the first place where in the next Congress, particularly with the two committee chairs, both the chair and the ranking member being from Texas, as well as working with the Senate, that this would be a place where we could get some movement going in this sort of gridlocked Congress that really helps all Americans and our health and our future technologies.
But we have to have the conversation about some of the work that is being done and where some of these monies are going. Specifically Rand Paul, he was talking about this origami condom and money that was going to create this versus money that was going to creating a vaccine for Ebola. And that's just one example, but if Republicans want to take a deeper look at exactly how the money is being spent, why does anyone have a problem with that? Scotty?
Well, I don't think anyone necessarily. That's completely the question right there, Heather. You sat there and you looked at, President Obama and the Democrats going into the November election sat there and said, and threw at the Republicans, they were the ones that were wanting to cut the spending of the CDC and the NIH. Well, the truth is because you saw them spending, they wanted to sit there and study why people liked Seinfeld or the origami condoms or the sex life of fruit flies. It was that kind of superfluous spending and the wasting of taxpayer dollars instead of the studying of Ebola. And that sort of nitpicking is the reason why you're having the issues today. We sit here and you look at, the Friday, right here on the Friday before Thanksgiving, Barack Obama sat here and gave us 3,400 new regulations on businesses and EPA regulations that are going to hurt small businesses and taxpayers. And yet on the reverse of it, you're going to sit here and see taxpayers are going to be hurt with these kind of issues. You wonder right now, who is the real war on? So it's not necessarily, science. You want to sit here and throw money at these sort of superfluous spending, and yet our taxpayers and small businesses are being overtaxed and are being hurt like this.
Jessica, I'll let you respond to that.
Well, I think they're two separate issues. I think hopefully we can all agree that we need to spend, if we're going to be spending this money on things like Ebola, on doing new technologies. With the fruit flies and all these things, we aren't the scientists who are actually using this information to then go forward and create the cures for cancers to help with the, they had a study that they did that probably everyone would think was ridiculous about brushing small rats, which then led to this amazing technology which is saving premature babies. So, it's difficult. Some of these things sound a little absurd, but that's why we have scientists who run the NIH and the CDC. We need to fund them. They complained earlier about not being funded. We can't be penny wise and pound foolish. We don't want to hurt our small businesses. We need to make sure that we've got a structured budget, but we need to spend wisely and doing things that will help our economy by having new technologies, by helping the health and future of the American people is something that we should be able to all agree on and hopefully work together with the scientists to make sure that they're spending the money wisely.
And since you are correct, none of us are scientists, that they're a little bit more transparent in how they're spending that money and how it is helping us. Thank you both for joining us. Hope that you both had a great Thanksgiving. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.